Have you ever found yourself in a situation where physically you're in one space, but mentally and emotionally you're far from that location? And I'm not talking about psychedelics or anything crazy like that. I'm actually talking about this idea of relational presence and being fully in the moment with those around you. Today, I'm gonna give you some ways that you can be more relationally present and aware and in the moment and have a more fulfilling life. A few years back, author Jeremy Kubicek wrote a book called 5 Gears: How to Be More Present and Productive When There's Never Enough Time. And in this book, he highlights 5 areas where our lives mirror that of an engine, where there are 5 different gears or 5 different settings that we find ourselves in that each have their place and their importance, but sometimes we serve different areas of this engine, maybe disproportionately to our goals and our priorities. So let's identify what they are for a moment. So the 5th gear is this idea of deep work or deep focus or flow. This is when you are hyper focused on a task that you lose track of time. There are no other distractions pulling your attention and you are hyper focused, you are rocking it. This is a very good place professionally or creatively to be in. This is where you create the best and most meaningful work in your professional career. The 4th gear is multitasking. This is when we're checking email and responding to text messages, and we're jumping from context to context. And this is an area where most of us have to be involved in, unless you are a monk or someone that is a CEO that maybe has an assistant that takes care of these menial tasks for them. Which I don't know if those people even exist because CEOs are usually pretty busy people. But it's important for most of us to be in this area daily a little bit so that we can keep a job. But this is not ultimately where the best work is created. Unfortunately, 85% of leaders find themselves in this area during the day. So 85% of their time is spent on multitasking, doing this shallow work that doesn't really move the needle or make much of a difference in their lives. The 3rd gear is casual socializing. If you are an introvert, this might be kind of like the worst thing for you, the thing that maybe you would rather not be a part of. These are the things where you're actually putting a conscious effort into. This is Susie that works in the cubicle over from you, that you don't know that well, but that you are going to intentionally put time into to get to know Susie, to get to know what makes her tick, what she enjoys, what hobbies she has, because believe it or not, Susie matters and she is important. Some people will struggle to find any time to dedicate to this area, and some people dedicate too much time to this area, i.e. the bar or hanging out in a situation where maybe it's unhealthy for them. So this is an interesting one to look at. Number 2, connecting deeply with our spouse or loved ones or the people we care about most. This is the stuff that makes life life. This is what really matters. And this is probably what you clicked on to figure out how to get more of this. We'll get back to it in a second. And then the first thing is to individually recharge. This is your area that you need to do every single day where you're reading, you're maybe listening to an audiobook, you're exercising, you're going for a walk, you're meditating, you're praying, you're journaling. Anything that's an analog activity that refreshes you. So not Netflix, not binging in front of the TV, something that refreshes you personally and ideally is a moment of solitude. It's by yourself. So now that we know these 5 areas exist, how do we make sure we're in the right gear at any given time? And this starts with an honest assessment of your life, asking yourself, does the amount of time and effort that I'm putting into each one of these areas, the percentages of these areas, does this line up with my priorities? And this is different for everyone. Only you can make this assessment. And then if it's not right, if it's out of whack, you need to make actionable steps and a plan that's gonna make this better in your life. You have to do it. Regardless of where you're at, you cannot neglect the 1st gear of individually recharging. So now after we've done this honest assessment of our life and these different areas that we want to improve, I'm gonna give you 3 ways that are gonna help you do just that. Before I do, would you consider hitting the like button on this video so that I can make more content for you like this? And if you really love this content, hit the subscribe button because I'm bringing you content like this all the time. So Tip number one, and that is after you've taken this assessment of your life, to acknowledge the areas where you've definitely got it wrong, and then go to the people in your life that you need to go to and really acknowledge that. Say, hey, I messed up in this area. Here's where I'm trying to go. Here's where I'm trying to improve. How can we improve this together? And how can I make this right? It's very important. This is going to help you relationally, in your job, in all of these areas, to make sure you are acknowledging where you got it wrong in a humble manner. Number two, I want you to employ a shutdown routine at work. What I want you to do is take your bullet journal or your task board, and I want you to go through your inbox quickly, making notes of things that need to get done the following day or the day after. Get them out of your inbox. If there are any looming messages that you have to respond to, like your boss or something that's job sensitive or job threatening that you got to respond to before you leave, do it. And then everything else, say, hey, I'm going to deal with this Tuesday, or I'm going to deal with this Wednesday. Make a note and make sure it's in a place that it's going to get dealt with. But get it off your plate for today. Get it out of your inbox. Get it onto a task board of some sort so that it's not going to slip through the cracks, and get it out of your mind. And then what I want you to do is say an audible phrase that tells your brain that today we're done. My phrase is namaste, shutdown complete. It sounds cheesy, but I use this phrase to help my brain audibly know and have a cue that today is over. And what I want you to do is no longer touch your email until the following workday. Like, get out of it, take it off your phone, don't do it. Like, get out of it. If you touch that thing, you're gonna mess up your life. You're gonna mess up all these areas. I'm telling you, get your task list in order and get off of email after you leave work. Have your shutdown routine, say the phrase, and get out. Number three, I want you to take your assessment from earlier and I want you to review it every day this week. I want you to look at it at the end of your day and go, am I on track? Am I improving? Am I making things right? Acknowledge the areas where you're still struggling, make an action plan, adjust that action plan, make it better. You can do this. I'm gonna end this video. Namaste, YouTube video.